here because this is a really super special show. We have got to have this baby recorded so that the world can hear this story. So, Cori Ann, welcome to the Kong Family Show. Here in the Kong family, as everybody knows, or a lot of people, or if they don't know, they're going to learn. I call it Kong's water because that beautiful lady in the box, she says, Kangen water, 9.5. Kangen water, 8.5. She doesn't say Kangen water. If she did, Kong wouldn't even exist. And I always say, how do you think that big gorilla got so big? He was out there in the jungle drinking from the base of those waterfalls. And that's one of the locations where Kong's water is found out there in nature, is at the base of a waterfall, and it's just blasting down. And, that's all part of the learning experience for people to understand the difference. And, here in the Kong family, we just have this really simple goal. We just want to change the world. And some people think that's kind of a lofty and unrealistic goal. But the truth is, and you know this just as well as I do, we are seeing it take place every single day through the lives that are changing. And so that's what our mission is around here. And we're doing it as my good brother, Sean Wetzel. He's out on the road today and can't join in with us, unfortunately. And who knows, he might pop in on us and surprise us. But, he says 1 glass of 9.5. And I finish off with 1 lightning bolt in a box and 1 incredible story at a time. And our goal is to share stories because, as you know, it wasn't all the facts and figures and technicalities that got me involved with Kangen water. It was the incredible angel, the lovely Miss Brittany Dykes, who changed the course and direction of my life with just an incredible story that she had to tell. And I finally took a look. And so my goal is to share stories. And that's why I keep reaching out to incredible people like you and trying to get you on here to share your story. And so, yes, everybody, here we are, and we've got the lovely Miss Cori Ann Devard on the show with us today, and we're looking forward to hearing what her story is. And so, Cori Ann, I'd like to ask you the first thing that I always ask everybody that comes on, because I'm always curious about this, is number one, how, when, and why did you get involved with Kangen water, and were you a skeptic like I was?
Okay, well, I feel like my story, kind of like Brittany's, has a lot of backstory. So I was diagnosed very young, around 6, 7 years old, with an autoimmune disease called scleroderma. I also was diagnosed with something called Sjogren's, which means you have excessively dry eyes, mouth, skin, that kind of thing. And it causes other complications too. But I just grew up with an illness. I grew up with a lot of symptoms that caused me, I had acid reflux. I grew up with IBS. I grew up with infections. And probably one of my worst symptoms has been these digital ulcers where I might bump my finger on something, which would be excruciating, I should add. And then I would develop a sore on my finger, which may or may not get infected, and the tissue would just die. It would basically kind of eat at my fingers, or I would get them on my elbows or my feet or my knees. And I have a lot of battle wounds, I call it, from these ulcers that I've grown up with. I also struggled with chronic fatigue. I remember being that kid a lot of times who in high school, my friends would be out doing something and I just felt too tired. And sometimes I'd feel embarrassed and I'd ask my mom to go make an excuse. I was like, Mom, can you just say that I can't go out tonight because I really just want to go lay down. So that was a struggle too. I just grew up with a lot of health issues, a lot of chronic pain. I've had a number of surgeries on my hands. One called a sympathectomy I had in high school where they go in and remove, so in scleroderma, your nerves clench around your arteries and decrease blood flow. So a lot of us have Raynaud's where our hands turn purple or white. and it can be really painful and sensitive. So I've had some surgeries on my hands where they go in and move the nerves over from the arteries to increase blood flow. And those worked for maybe a few months, but definitely not a fix at all. And then I got older, I went to college, I got married, I had kids, and kind of like Brittany, my disease really flared up after I had my first child. I was hospitalized. I had severe pain. I had severe infections at the time. They were afraid they were going to amputate my fingers, a few of them. It just really, my pregnancies were great, but right after, my illness would just get really angry, as I called it. And I also, I forgot too, but in high school and in college, I was hospitalized a lot because they were afraid my fingers were going to turn gangrene and I would have to have those amputated. So I would just need to get in there and get on IV antibiotics and just pump my body full of that for 5 days or so. So long story short, struggling with a lot of health issues. Then comes 2016. I didn't really know what happened, but I got really sick. I had severe chronic pain. I had constant ulcers on my hands, at least 2 to 3 on my fingers at all times, always one on my elbow and one on my foot. And I would be doing something like changing a diaper, and if that diaper hit my ulcer, I would just burst into tears. It was so painful. And my doctors, they sent me to a wound care clinic. They didn't really know what to do. They just told me to keep the ulcers clean. My doctor had me do a lot of different medications. I've done different circulation increasing creams. I had to miss a lot of important life events when I was in so much pain. I remember my best friend in California getting married, and I had planned on going, but I got so sick in the fall that I just couldn't even imagine, because I was going to have to fly out there by myself. I couldn't even imagine renting a car or doing anything or taking my baby with me and being in that much pain. Because at that point, my doctor had me on narcotic pain meds. It was the only thing that could get rid of my pain, because the pain is like this deep nerve bone pain, and it's just excruciating. I couldn't find any other relief except for the pain meds. So I hated it, but I felt reliant on them. I had to take them like every 4 hours, just so I could function, so I could care for my kids. If I was going anywhere for a long time, I had to put pain meds in my car or my purse. And I just hated that. I hated feeling so dependent on medication, not to mention all the other meds I was taking for all my other symptoms at the time. So I guess it kind of got to the breaking point around Thanksgiving. My doctor still couldn't get my ulcers to heal or my infections on my hands. Super pain, just super high pain, probably a 9 on the 1 out of 10 scale. And I have a pretty high pain tolerance. I feel like growing up with something like this, you develop that. But my doctor said, we're going to try an experimental treatment that has worked for a lot of people with scleroderma and Raynaud's. We're going to do Botox shots in your hands because Botox relaxes the nerves. And we'll go in, we'll do about 15 on each hand. And it should last for 6 months to a year. It's going to relax your nerves, let the blood flow, and heal your ulcers. And I was like, yes, sure, I'll try it, whatever. So I went in for this procedure. For me, I'm a mom of 4, right? So I had all my kids at like somebody's house except my baby. My husband had driven me to the doctor's because I couldn't drive home after the procedure because my hands were going to be so swollen. So I went in and I had to get the dermatologist at University of Utah to do it. And it was so painful. She did maybe 2 shots. So with scleroderma, your skin is very, very hard. Sclera means hard, derma means skin. Like my skin's very tight. It's gotten a lot looser, but it's very tight on my forehead. It's very tight on my hands. And when she put the shot in, and we also don't have a lot of padding or tissue on our hands. Like, that's why they're so sensitive, because it's just bone and nerve. So she starts doing these shots, and I am just sobbing. It hurt so bad. And she's like, how about we stop this? I don't think she's used to people crying that much in the dermatology office, but she's like, how about we stop this and we'll schedule the OR and we'll have you come in on a different day. We'll have you come in on a different day and we'll put you in the OR and we'll just sedate you and we'll do the shot. And I'm like, no, I want to get these ulcers healed. I'm here. All my kids are good. My husband's here. He took the day off work. Like, we're doing this. So I just sat there and got those shots and cried. And I thought, this is going to help. This is going to help so much. That's why I'm doing this. And went home. My hands are super painful. And my ulcers started to heal a little bit. And I was pretty excited. But after about 2 weeks, they just got worse again. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I went through all that, you know, expecting it to last a really long time, and it lasted about 2 weeks. So at the time, kind of like you, J. John, I was seeing Brittany's story on Facebook, and I was really inspired, and I just knew, you know, I have to try this. Because I am somebody, I will try anything. If it seems like it might help, I'll give it a try. You know, what have I got to lose, right? I've tried so many things growing up, also like Brittany. I've tried, I went to a Chinese herbalist doctor as a kid. I've done biofeedback training. I've done so many medications, like I said, and different creams to increase circulation. I've done chiropractics. I've done the oils. I've done, I can't even think, so many things. So I thought, okay, let's try this. Why not? And I was pretty excited because I saw Brittany's story. I saw how much it had changed her life and how she was getting out of bed and she was in less pain and her ulcers were healing. And I just thought, I got to get this water. But also like you, I live further north and not in Ephraim. And I thought, I can't drive down there to get this water, you know. So I'd been messaging her and I just started Googling it. I was like, there's got to be somewhere I can get this water. And thankfully, I found a juice bar in Sugar House that had Kangen water. I thought, okay, this is better than nothing. I'm going to give it a try. So when I gave it a try, I probably had about 3 really severe ulcers on my hand. And I was, like I said, taking that Norco pain meds probably 4 to 6 times a day. And we went to the store, filled up our jugs. We didn't know at the time you had to drink it super fresh. You know, I was such a newbie. I got 2 5-gallon jugs of the water. And as soon as I got it, I even had them fill up my water bottle right there. I was like, can you just fill this up? They're like, yeah. And I remember we were going swimming or something as a family afterwards. And I just thought, I'm just going to drink this water like it's medicine. I'm just going to drink it. I'm going to drink as much as I can and get this in my body. And I just chugged it. And I remember maybe 6 hours later feeling different, but not really sure how, you know. And every day I just kept drinking that water. And it must have been the 3rd day I noticed my pain was getting better. I noticed my pain was less. And I thought, okay, like, and for me, like, I don't know, I was really in tune with my body because I knew how much pain I was in every day. And so I knew it was less. And I just thought, I got to keep drinking this water. And I remember before the first week was up, I was looking at my hands and my ulcers were healing. They were drying up. They were shrinking. And I was just like, this is amazing. I remember showing my husband, and he knows all that I've gone through. And he was like, wow, okay, there's something to this. So we kept going faithfully to get that water. We started going twice a week. And it was a drive. I mean, we live in West Jordan. It was still like 35 minutes. So it was about an hour round trip to get water. But when something starts changing your life, it is worth that, you know. And so, like I said, kept drinking the water, and my ulcers were healing consistently. And after 4 weeks on the water, I was off my pain meds. I was completely off my pain meds. I couldn't believe it. I remember as I went on drinking it, I slowly tapered off my pain meds. And I just thought, this is crazy. I'm taking less meds and I'm not hurting. And then watching my ulcers heal and my fingers become less inflamed and puffy and painful and red and just feeling shocked. And I have photos, you've seen them, I'm sure, I know you have, of my hands, and they went from these angry, horrible looking things to these normal, you know, my skin color was normal. It was just amazing. That's what sold me. That's what sold me right there, was healing those things I've struggled with since I was a kid, and getting me off that pain med, and getting my pain from like a 9 down to a 1. And now it's a 0. I mean, I'm not in any, I used to be in pain all the time, like sitting here, I would just be hurting, and now nothing. So that was my biggest miracle. And not to mention that, I mean, I have a lot of symptoms. I don't have acid reflux anymore. Another one that's huge for people with scleroderma, which I've noticed, is that my skin used to hurt all the time too. So like I said, it's really tight. It used to hurt on my forehead. It used to hurt around my mouth. And I would feel this need to stretch out my mouth like every hour because it just hurt. It was so tight. And I would even be embarrassed because I'd have to do like this stretching thing because it hurt. And I just remember being in public and being like stretching my mouth because I was like embarrassed for whatever reason that people would think I was doing something weird. I don't know. But my face doesn't hurt anymore. My skin doesn't hurt anymore. Like, I don't have to do that. I don't have to rub my head and think, ow, my skin hurts. So that was huge for me also. Another one which was really big, and I've been talking to a lot of people about online, is my Sjogren's. When I was in college, I had my eyes tested, and they said they were 80% drier than a normal person's eye. And I would use eye drops at least like 3 to 5 times a day. I always had eye drops. And my mouth was also extremely dry, to the point where I got really severe cavities, because if you have a dry mouth, you don't have saliva protecting your teeth against cavities and other dental issues. And with scleroderma, your mouth is so tight and small, dental work is a pain, because it hurts to open your mouth, and yet you have dry mouth, and so you're getting all these oral health issues. So long story short, I'm completely off eye drops now. I don't need them. My eyes do not feel dry at all. I don't even remember the last time I used eye drops, which is crazy to me. Also, my mouth isn't dry. My mouth, I go into the dentist, and my dentist is really close to buying a machine. He's like, what are you doing different? What is up with your mouth? How do you have all this saliva? And he's been super impressed, and just his whole staff is interested in the water because they've seen the difference. I used to, every time I went in, I had cavities because I just did not have saliva. And now I go in, I haven't had a cavity since I started the water 2 years ago. So that was another thing. That's huge for me because I hate getting all the oral stuff done. Let's see, what else? Just so many things, so many things. And so it was about, I think I drank the water for about 2 months. I was convinced. I wanted to buy one. I just had to convince my husband. Because he's like, well, let's just keep going to the store to get the water. What's the big deal? And I didn't know. I was starting to learn more about the other features the machine does, the 2.5 water, the 11.5 water, the beauty water. And as I learned about all these things I could replace and change in my home, I was like, we got to do this. And he was like, you're right. So it was amazing. And the business, when I, kind of like Brittany, I thought, if this water has made such a huge difference in my life, I know it's going to change and improve the lives of so many other people. Like, how can I not share this with them? And that's kind of been my personal mission now, is like, I have to share this water with people. So yeah, I got my machine almost exactly 2 years ago from now. And my health literally it would improve even months after I got it. I used to have really severe pain when I kneeled down, and it was like a nerve thing. Or sometimes with scleroderma, you get calcinosis, where you have these calcium balls that build up in your joints, and super painful. You kneel down or on your elbows. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was something, and it would just be severe pain when I kneeled. And I remember, I told Brittany, we were talking about this, about 6 months after I started the water, I was kneeling down to get something because I had to, and I was like, wait a second, why is my knee not hurting? You know, it just blew me away. I was like, that's so, it just, you know, I feel like with this water, some things might take longer to heal than others, but it's constantly your body, you know, like we said, it's, this water helps our bodies get to that state where they need to be and helps our bodies heal themselves. And it might take a few weeks, it might take a month, it might take 6 months, but if you drink this water consistently, it will heal your body. I just believe that with all my heart, you know, because I've seen it.
Yeah.
So
one thing I think is important to interject right there just really quickly, because, you know, we want to stay in the good graces or the
yeah,
good graces of Enagic, and that, you know, the truth of the matter is it wasn't Kong's water that healed your body. It was your body that healed your body. And the
yeah,
reason your body healed your body is because your body got what it needed. Because
yeah,
this thing right here, it is truly amazing what this thing will heal. And like
yeah,
Dr. Barry Oz says, he has the audacity to come out there and say that there are no incurable diseases. And you're talking about a physician who has treated over 9,000 patients for everything under the sun utilizing this water. But the truth of the matter is the miracle, the magic, the incredible, the blessing is this thing right here. This is the most amazing machine that is out there on the planet, and it runs on 120 millivolts of electricity and hydrogen. And if you give it that electricity and that hydrogen in that hydrated alkaline environment, it's amazing how it goes ahead and just fixes itself. You know, your car runs on 12 volts and gasoline, but if you don't fix it, if you don't change its oil, if you don't, you know, keep it up, then it has to be fixed. It needs a mechanic. Where our machine, all it needs is it just needs that electricity, that hydrogen in that hydrated alkaline environment, and it'll just go ahead and fix itself. And that's what's so incredible about the things that we're seeing. And you know, I think your story is so incredible. I've been sitting here crying because I cry about everything. I even cried at Rocky V. Ever since my mom died, I cry about everything.
oh,
You know, it just breaks my heart to see people suffering. And that's a huge part of the reason why I put this format together and came up with this idea to do this, is because I just want to get these stories out there, because there's simply no need for people to be suffering from disease. There's no need whatsoever. They just need to change their water and it will change their life. You know, the motto of this company, kids, isn't change your water, change your wallet, change your water, change your job. You know, no, it's change your water, change your life. And that's exactly what it does. Would you agree with that there, Cori?
oh, 100%. And you know, it's funny because when I was first trying the water, I was mainly the only one drinking it. You know, I have a house with a husband and I have 4 kids and myself, and they knew at first, like, this is mom's water. And like I said, it was like my medicine, right? I just knew, like, this, I have to get this in my body every day. Well, as soon as we got our machine, we were all drinking it, and we all noticed health improvements. And my husband, if he were here, he would tell you he has been a chronic seasonal allergy sufferer for years and years and years. And he also has a deviated septum on his nose. He broke his nose when he was young. And he's had sinus issues. He used to get a lot of sinus infections. And he used to snore a lot. And after he was on the water, he was not super sold. He's like, I didn't really notice any differences, you know? And I said, oh, and I should say too, he was about to get sinus surgery in December. So he had met with the doctor. He was about to get a second opinion, but they wanted to do a surgery to fix his issues and to fix his deviated septum and everything, so he'd get less infections. But they said, you know, well, we're going to do the surgery, but it may or may not do anything to help you. That, you know, it might fix it, it might not. So we get on the water, and he says, you know, I just don't know if this is helping me. And I said, well, I haven't noticed you take your allergy medicine for a while, because he used to take it every day. And my oldest son, too, at the time, was taking allergy medicine every day. otherwise his little face would get swollen, and I just felt so bad from going to school with this swollen face. I'd have to give my son Donovan medicine in the morning and at night just to keep his allergies at bay. Well, my husband, being super skeptical, right? I'm way more open-minded. I've always kind of been that way, but my husband is 100% skeptical. And he's like, I don't really think it's helping. Well, he's like, well, maybe the pollen count is just low this spring, you know? And I said, I don't know. You haven't been taking your allergy medicine for like at all. And he goes online, he checks the pollen count, and it was very high. And so that kind of got things turning. And he's like, I haven't gotten a sinus infection either. And I'm like, yeah. And another thing I noticed with him very quickly is that he stopped snoring, which was crazy. So, and that was something for me that at night I would be like, roll over, you're snoring, and he just stopped. He went from like a 10 snoring to maybe occasionally now he'll be a 1. He'll just kind of do a funny breathing thing. But I mean, that's huge, huge. Like, he is breathing better at night. He's not getting infections. His allergies are gone. He might take an allergy pill once or twice a month, but not twice a day, So that was a huge victory for us. And my son Donovan, same thing. He went, like I said, taking allergy medicine twice a day to nothing. I make all my kids take their water to school in their water bottles, and every morning they fill them up, and they have it before bed, and we're just the water family now. So my kids talk about it at church. They talk about it at school. They tell their teachers about it. It's like I paid them to go talk about it, but it's just funny because they all have had their own little stories about the water and how it's helped them, and they tell people about it, and I just love it. It's so funny. And my youngest, too, I posted a photo of her legs. She had severe eczema, but once we got her on the water, it cleared up after just a couple months. And it's just been a huge blessing to our family. We rarely get sick now, and when we do, it's really mild. And it's just so many things. We use all the waters in our home. It's like, what is that phrase? Be a product of the product, right? You have replaced all the chemical cleaners in our house, which I love because I've always been a little of an anxious person, and I've been a little bit nervous about my kids ingesting something, or even they don't know how people get scleroderma, but one of the theories is that it could be chemical exposure. So I already know my kids have probably a predisposition to getting an autoimmune disease because of my situation. But getting chemicals out of my home I love it. I love it, and I love that I can give my kids a bottle of 2.5 water or beauty water and say, go clean the window, I don't have to worry about them getting Windex on their hands or ingesting something, That's a huge one too. And cleaning our produce, so many pesticides, and we have no idea what those are doing to our bodies and what kind of chemical exposure that's, causing. But my kids love, putting the tomatoes in or any kind of fruits or veggies and just seeing what comes off of them.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Hey, Sean, I wanted to give you, if you're interested, here's my brother Sean. This is my partner in crime, my Kong brother. And I'm wondering if he's got anything to comment on real quick, if he's got a question or anything he'd like to interject. I know he's driving, but what do you think, brother? You got anything to say?
No, man. I mean, I think that me and her husband were twins of physiological disrepair before the water. Lifelong allergies, growing up on IV, Sudafed, and then it was just crazy. And I don't know. I mean, I hear you. And like JJ said, once you put your body in the right position to succeed, it's going to do it. Hey, I like your style. I like your kids. Sounds like you guys got a banging up little scene going on down there. So nice work out of you, young lady.
Thank you. Yeah, I have one child who's very vocal, and he will talk about the water at church. And my friend Lauren actually is one of the teachers that teaches the kids at church, and heard him talking about it. And she reached out to me, and her husband has a lot of acid reflux issues, and his dad has Barrett's disease with his esophagus. They ended up buying a machine, basically because my son was talking about it and got their attention. And then his parents ended up buying a machine too. And my friend Lauren just told me that her husband's dad, who has Barrett's disease, went into his doctor recently, and they're astonished by how much his esophagus is healed, and they don't know what to say about it. So it's just amazing what, you know, speaking up about the water can do. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, you can only share it with those willing to listen. You can only throw passes to those willing to try and catch them, you know. So that's huge. That's huge. You said you've been in the business for a couple of years. Sorry to get on so late, man. I'm on the road like Willie Nelson. I'm just up the street from you guys in Pocatello right now, but I'm heading north back home to Missoula area up in Montana.
Oh,
but you've been in it a couple of years, honey?
Yeah, 2 years now. And one of my, I guess, the biggest thing I like to do is help other people who are like me, who have a chronic health condition or an autoimmune disease or something where they feel like, or where doctors have taught them that there's like no hope and they're just going to have to live with it their whole life.
How fun is it? Let me ask you this. How fun is it? Well, and it can be difficult too, because sometimes they look at you in disbelief and they wonder, what you're smoking or drinking, you know. But how fun is it when you're talking about something to a friend or somebody you care about their autoimmune deficiency and what they're dealing with? How fun is it to see them light up? As totally, you just talked about how the doctors they kind of bully you into that direction. Hey, handsome, who's that little bugger back there?
That's my daughter, Kira.
Yeah, that's a little kid.
She just
Get her out here. Oh, you shy little mama.
Shy one.
Yeah. No, but it's just awesome. It's rewarding, and it's neat to know that when you have something that, when the medical industry and all their infinite medical practice at, our expense as guinea pigs tell you they've run out of options, and you've got hopelessness and despair and absolute just grief and worry about where to go from here. And when you roll in like you're the last guy in the park with a popsicle, in the middle of July, they're like, they don't know what to think. So I love it. I like your passion. I really identify with it. I had a friend of mine's daughter had Barrett's esophagus.
Yeah.
The doctors were amazed. The poor guy was a very poor mindset, works, got a good job, got a good house, but he couldn't afford the machine. So I moved, and within 6 months, they still have to take out like 6 inches of her esophagus. She was 14, and then the subsequent stories on Facebook and, oh, my poor daughter, and there's so people love to, I don't know if they love to, we're just so desperate that we reach out and we put out all our ills and, oh, I got to have this surgery, and it's like, it's so awesome to be on our side of the spectrum, to be able to change the narrative and say, I avoided surgery, I didn't, and that's happening. I'm not making that up. You and I both know it's happening. So, it's good to have you on board and have you on the show this morning. I didn't know you from Adam, but as I'm driving, I'm like getting on my thing to try and find the link, and I see suggested friend, and I'm like, well, if that isn't, it can't be her, because he just told me Cori Ann was coming on.
Yeah.
So I'll have to do, I went to the thing, but I'll definitely dial in with you, and continued blessings, young lady.
Okay, of course.
Yeah, that this whole thing is it's just such an incredible blessing, and it's such a heartwarming thing to be able to, meet with people like you on a daily basis, Cori Ann, and hear the stories. Every morning I end up, bawling my eyes out a little bit over everybody's stories, but I'm crying in happiness because it is so powerful. And I really, the thing about what, you were mentioning earlier that you didn't know what caused this scleroderma. And the thing about it is that everybody's body is the same, but it's also different. And I think where the real difference lies, and people should pay attention to this because this is important, where the real difference lies is in how our bodies handle all the poisons and toxins that we're literally being bombarded with on a daily basis. If anybody had a chance to check out my little Kong family show that I did yesterday afternoon, where I decided to go into Kong's lab and clean off some vegetables. I cleaned off some tomatoes and some artichokes. And, and, you know, the stuff that came off of all of that, we don't even know what that is. And we don't, you know, I would imagine that somebody has the ability to take that stuff, send it in, go have it tested, and find out exactly what kind of poisons and garbage is in there.
Yeah.
But for me, I can just look at it and look at that yellow gook. I ended up doing another little short video when I was pouring that water off because I saw just the grossness that had settled in on the bottom, and it was just like this bright yellow, like, ugh. And you know, 2 years now, a little over 2 years, I've been cleaning off my vegetables, and I just can't get used to it. It makes me sick every single time that I clean off my vegetables and I see whatever it is that's coming off of them. And the thing is our bodies, everybody's body is different and how it reacts to that kind of stuff. And so we, you know, that's where our bodies are different. I hear all the time, yeah, everybody's different. And yeah, you know, we are different, but we also all are the same. We all require the same ingredients to be able to you know, survive. Our body runs on voltage, it runs on hydrogen, it needs alkalinity, it needs hydration, right? Yeah. And so they're all the same in that department, but one person, it might take them a couple months to get over scleroderma or the ulcers or whatever, and another person, it might take them a year. But the simple fact of the matter is, if they just keep doing it, they're going to get over it. Yeah. And so that's where you know, we're trying to put that message out there and help people to understand. And I say this all the time on Facebook, and I say it to people in person and everything else. And I don't think that I ever say anything that gets me in more trouble and gets people pissed off at me more than health and disease is a choice. You can either choose to have it or you can choose to have it. Which one do you choose? Choose wisely. And sadly, most people these days, they're choosing the doctors, they're choosing the pill and a bill, the what Sean call it, the medicine and sickness funnel. Yeah. What's that, Sean? Go ahead.
They're choosing fast food. They're choosing preservative-based foods. They're choosing crap. They're choosing energy drinks. And then they're in that mindset. That's why they're in their little box of, well, oh, I've got the hallway I know I need to go down to because it's going to involve drugs, pills, surgeries, chemo, radiation. And that's the paradigm we're trying to shift. But that's it, man. People choose that stuff, and they act like I've posted stuff and people have gotten mad about cancer being metabolic and not genetic. And I get this thing from a cancer survivor that I'm insensitive. And I'm like, good God. What are we talking about here? Are we talking about trying to sort the truth out? Are we talking about hurting someone's poor widow feeling? You know, I've been in the middle of cancer survivors my whole life. So to say I'm insensitive to it is just, it's ridiculous. And so it's just, you're trying to bring another solution. You're trying to bring another option to people. You know, so yeah, health and disease are definitely a choice. And I think half the time, some of us, we kind of choose both intermittently without even knowing it. You know, and I think people need to become more consciously aware of how simple and how effective that choice of health is. Because we continue to see day in and day out, and day in and day out, years later, the sickness paradigm, the allopathic industry, it ain't working. It ain't working. No. You know, so it's like, I don't know, maybe Darwinism's kind of exposing itself at fundamental levels of humanity, you know. But hey, at the end of the day, and again, I'm being truthful, and if that offends, I don't care, man. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I know as a butter knife, I can cut through butter when I'm ready to party, you know. So I don't know, man. It's awesome. Good call.
I think I had to interject that. We choose all that mess. Giddy up.
Yeah. So that makes me, the thing is that these stories, because when you stop and think about it, and when I share this thing out, I'm going to tell people, look, if this story doesn't get your gander up and get you to taking a look at what's going on here, you're talking about a young lady who literally suffered through most all of her life. Literally, you started at 6 years old. Same thing with Brittany, and same thing with a lot of people that are suffering from this same kind of stuff. They're like Dr. Berrial, like my mom, that was sick. She was born sick, and she spent her whole life being sick, and ultimately it ended up killing her. And I believe that had this water, it was around. That's the bad part, is this water was available. I just didn't know about it. And had I known about it and been able to get it into her body, I really truly believe that her body would have been able to fix itself, and that she would still be here with me today. But so you had all these issues for all these years, and you constantly went to all the different doctors and all their different, therapies.
That's how I grew up. That's how I was raised, and that's how my family, my grandpa was a pharmacist, that's what you do, when you're sick. And we did, like I said, my mom was always, my family is more open-minded. Like I said, I had a Chinese herbalist doctor, and I did remember seeing some benefits from drinking Chinese teas and getting certain massages and learning to do biofeedback and different things that were more alternative. And so, we've done both. We've done the medicine side, the doctor surgery side, and then we've done some alternative things. So I think that was a blessing, because I've always been a little bit more open-minded and willing to try things that aren't the normal route,
Yeah. And that's a good thing, because, and sadly, most people, they don't turn towards the naturopathic side of things until it's the end, until like they're at the very end of their rope, hanging on to the last little string of the rope, and that's when they decide to try something natural. And but what's interesting is just how simple it is. Like Sam Tran always says, the genius is in the simplicity. And people just don't realize how much that things can change. They think it's insane. I did too. I thought it was ridiculous. And, oh, yeah, whatever, change your water. Water's water, blah, blah, blah. To me, that's the way it was until Brittany shared her story, and I opened my eyes finally. But I'm one of those people that I don't just spout off about things when I don't know what I'm talking about. And the truth is, I just watched Tim post for 6 months and never said a word. I'd give him likes, laugh, and move on. And I never looked at anything. And so I never left you, what a scam, what a bunch of crap, blah, blah, blah. Like a lot of people do, who are just spouting off about things that they don't even know anything about. But I think it's incredible that you were willing to take a look because of what had happened to Brittany. You saw that story, Brittany, if you're out there listening to this, did I tell you I love you today, honey? Thank you for changing my life once again. We got to get you back on here, because we didn't record your show the last time. But, so you've made it quite clear to everybody how much this miracle, this gift that was given to us by God and Mr. Oshiro, how much it's changed your life. Yeah. What I wouldn't mind, if you've got anything you'd like to say in this regard, is how has it changed other people's lives around you? You already mentioned your husband and your kids. Yeah. Fellow co-workers, people, just, got any great stories?
Yeah, so I have a lot of stories. And big and small, my mother-in-law was the first one to purchase a machine. She has really severe arthritis in her hands, and now, she drinks the water. She's not in pain. She doesn't drink it. She hurts. Her mom, who's in her upper 80s, drinks the water now, and she has energy like you could not believe. She had this amazing story about only being able to walk a certain distance down her street every day, and then as soon as she was on the water, she was doubling that and tripling that, and people couldn't explain it, you know, and she told her doctor it's the water I'm drinking, and I think he thought she was crazy, but you know, it's the truth. And another one I like is my neighbors. The wife, Jody, has arthritis. The husband, Don, has a lot of diabetes issues. And they noticed a difference right away. Her arthritis pain went away. And Don used to have a lot of numbness in his hands. And his numbers for his diabetes used to be really out of control. And now that he's been on the water, his levels are really, you know, more like this and not like this. And they're really more in control for him. And then Jody is able to garden and kneel down now without being in severe pain. They both have a lot more energy. She said she used to come home and fall asleep on the couch, and now she's like wanting to get stuff done. And they're older, so they have a big testimony of the energy the water gives you. Let's see. So one of my personal missions is just kind of sharing this water with people who have, like I said, autoimmune diseases or scleroderma. I have people now on my team who've purchased machines in New York, in Texas. I have a friend in Australia. And I love it when I can open somebody's mind who has scleroderma and get them to try it, because kind of like you said, there's a lot of people out there who really think I'm crazy. I'll be on the scleroderma websites and I'll see somebody with ulcers just like I have, and they're like telling me how much, they'll post about how much pain they're in, and they'll have a photo of their hands and it's like gangrene or it's black, the tissue is dyed, and I can feel it. I remember what that pain was like, and it just breaks my heart because I know I have something that can help them. And I'll tell them about it, and sometimes people are open-minded and they listen and they, you know, they want to learn. And other times, like last week, this lady just thought I was crazy and just kept telling me it was a scam and I was lying and how dare I, and pulling up these fake articles about how Kangen water is a scam and the fake Consumer Reports, and it just breaks my heart because, you know, I continue to rebuttal her and just be really nice about it. And in the end, I think she realized, you know, because I said, you know, those aren't true articles. If you look at that website, it says alkaline water solutions. It's not Consumer Reports. But it breaks my heart because other people who have this disease are reading this and thinking, oh, it must be a scam, you know. And I know this water can be a life-changing thing for so many people. And I just continue to share it and talk about it. But yeah, I have just a lot of friends with this illness now who are on the water or who have machines, and I've all seen improvements. So that's inspiring. I have friends one of my friends, Christina in California, her son had a skin condition for years and years and years. And she said about 6 months after the water, she grabbed his hand and said, she was like, where's your rash? What happened? And he was like, I don't know. It's just kind of went away. And she was just flabbergasted. And she said the only thing they've changed is the water. And she just knows that's what it was. And it, like I said, like it may have taken 6 months, but it went away. His body, you know, got what it needed and healed. And so just so many inspiring stories. And like I said, the one about my friend Lauren and her father-in-law with Barrett's disease, and there's just so many amazing stories. I don't know, I love sharing this water. I love talking about it. I love listening to people's problems and seeing how I can help them or what I could do. And I just think, you know, truly this water will help anybody who drinks it, you know, if it's just by having more energy or sleeping better. Like I've seen it all. I've seen it in people who, one of my friends who comes to get the water regularly, her name's Tanya, she doesn't have any major health issues, but, you know, she just says, I just know my body, I'm just thirsty. I'm thirsty for this water. Like she knows her body needs the water and she's drinking it. And it's for everybody.
Yes, it sure is. And, you know, I've got to ask you another question here real quick, just because of the skeptics that are out there.
Yeah.
Because this is always a question that we face. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, yeah, right. She had all that by just changing her water.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything else that you changed? Did you change your diet? Did you change and stop drinking soda pops or anything like that? Or was it
So
just,
I've never really been a big soda drinker at all. So that wasn't me at all. I've always been a water drinker. So it wasn't like a matter of being dehydrated. I did go through a rough detox. So like I said, I noticed a pain decrease right away. I noticed my ulcers healing. But about, I want to say weeks 2 to 3, I was extremely tired. Just like felt like I couldn't get out of bed. And my body, not to get too graphic, but was just emptying, just detoxing in an unnatural way that I knew something was up. And I remember texting Brittany and just saying, I'm so tired. I do not know what's going on. And she just said, you know, girl, you're detoxing. You just need to power through. You can do it. Just keep drinking the water. You know, I think I was on 9 or 9.5 at the time. She said, if you need to dilute it a little bit, just do it, you know, and just rest and just keep pushing the water through. And I did it, and I got over that hump, and just like I said, everything just slowly started to feel better. I do believe diet has a big impact on our health. Like Sean was saying, getting off processed foods, eating whole foods, clean foods, natural foods. And, you know, we go through points in our family where we're way clean eating, and then other times where we, you know, we just had a birthday party at my house and my son wanted a cake from Cold Stone. So, okay, you're 11, I'll buy you a cake from Cold Stone. So we, you know, but 80% of the time we eat very clean, healthy foods. And in the past, let's see, between my 2 daughters, I got in a very clean diet, and I did notice a lot of health improvement, but not to this extent. Not to the extent that I was completely pain-free or that I wasn't getting ulcers, because I still was, but I was getting less. So I really do believe if you get the acid out of your diet and clean it up, it's going to help. But I feel like for scleroderma and for a lot of autoimmune diseases, if you can flood your body with the anti-inflammatory, antioxidant properties, that is the biggest difference. Yes. Because even when I was trying the water, like I said, from the juice bar, I went twice a week. And I noticed the first 2 days on the water, I always felt the best. But by the 3rd day, it wasn't as good. And that's part of the reason I knew I needed to get my machine, because I could feel those 2 days were better. And even at the very beginning, when I said we didn't know you had to drink the water fresh, and we got 2 5-gallons, and I think it would take me about a week to go through them. I always felt the best right away. And then I still felt good, but not as good as I had been. And so I know the antioxidant, anti-inflammatory part is a huge thing, because it's an inflammatory disease, you know. And I just tell people that all the time who try the water, you got to drink it as fresh as you can. It's going to have the biggest impact.
Yes, indeed. You know, and you mentioned something just a minute ago. You said that dehydration wasn't a problem because you were always a water drinker. Mm-hmm. But the truth of the matter is, this is what I've learned over the last 2 years from literally immersing myself in study about this water, is that it's impossible for in our day and age, with the way we get our water, mm-hmm. unless you live in Hunza or you live in France or you live, you know, in one of the 7 locations around the world where this water is readily available, it's impossible to drink enough water, H2O, every day in order to properly hydrate your body. You need to drink like 6 gallons to 8 gallons of water a day in order to hydrate yourself. And in trying to do something like that, you literally would drown yourself. You can't drink that much water in a day. And the reason why, you and I, we both know why this is, it's because of the microclustering and the size of the water molecule, and also the electricity. And that's why, because, see, I went through this exact same thing all last year and the year before when I was going up to my fossil quarry, because I'd go up there for like 7 to 10 days at a time. and I would take my water with me in bags, and I'd make sure to fill them all the way to the top and shut them down tight and all that stuff. But after about the third day or so, I started noticing that the water was now juggling around in my stomach, where you don't feel that when you drink Kangen water. And if you drink it within that first 48 hours, you don't feel it sloshing around in the old gut because it's absorbing into your system. It never even hardly gets to your stomach unless you drink a double buttload of it, right? And so for people out there that are listening to this and they don't understand that, you know, this is a common occurrence where people, they drink a lot of water. They drink nothing but water. But the problem and the thing they don't understand is they don't understand God's great conundrum of life, and that is H2O. I call it the great conundrum of life because on one hand, you absolutely have to have it. You can go like maybe a week at best without it, and if you're not dead, you're just praying to die. And then on the other hand, it's killing you. Why? Because it doesn't have any electricity, and it's acid. They call it the universal solvent for a reason, because it eats through things. It is literally causing your body to eat itself. And for somebody in a situation like yours, where these autoimmune diseases, what they are is they're the body like eating itself, catabolizing itself in fast forward. That's what your ulcers were. It was literally your body.
You can, this finger here, I've never had an amputation on it, but it literally ate itself. I would get ulcers here and they would just eat at the tissue. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly, honey. And that's what we strive on a daily basis to do, is to help people understand just the science behind this and the fact that water is just water. Kong's water is something completely different. It's not H2O, it's H2 negative OH for about 48 hours. After that, it just turns back into regular old plain old water. That's why you feel it sloshing around. That's why at the end of the week you weren't feeling the results as good as you were in the beginning of the week. It's because water dies, just like water is dead. All the water that people are drinking, whether they're getting it from a well or whether they're getting it from, like myself, I'm so blessed. We live in White City, which is an enclave of Sandy, and we have our own water company. And our water comes off of the mountains right here, these 10,000-foot peaks, and it goes down into a deep well aquifer, and then it gets pumped up into our house. It doesn't have any chlorine in it, no fluoride in it, no chemicals of any kind. We're the only municipality in the state that doesn't put any kind of anything in our water. And yet it is loaded with organic minerals. And I get some of the highest ORPs out of my 9.5. Like I get a negative 867 out of my 9.5. Wow. And very few people get that.
Yeah.
But when I do ORP tests on my water that's coming out of my sink, it is a positive. It's like a positive 250, 300, 400 positive. So it's not only is it not an antioxidant, it is an oxidant. It is literally and I have some of the very best water in the whole world, and it's still poison. That's what people don't understand, and what we have a monumental task in front of us, helping people to understand this fact. And so I want to move on, because we've been here a little bit, and I want to give you an opportunity to answer my favorite question of all the questions that I ask. When anybody asks, what kind of questions do you ask? I never tell them this one. You have somebody out there that's interested in Kangen water, and you have one thing that you can say to them, only one. What is it?
I think, so a little bit of it, I have to say, would depend upon the person, because I really try to get to know people who are trying the water and get to know their situation and their health issues and what they really need. But I guess one thing I always try to say is, like, why not give this water a try? What do you have to lose? This water could truly change your life. Like I have a friend with migraines, and I said, what if you could live your life without migraines? you know, can you imagine what that would be like? Can you imagine how that would change your day-to-day living and your week and just your overall happiness if you could just change that one thing and just get them imagining how much better their life could be on this water? Because, you know, if they're open-minded enough to try it, I know they're gonna feel something. And yeah, just
That's awesome. You know, and in fact, sometimes the reason I love that question so much is that everybody always gives a really unique and interesting answer about it, because that one important thing is different to everybody. But a lot of people out there have said what you just said, which is it would really depend on the person, because I need to get to know them first. And that's part of what this is all about as well, is it's about building relationships. And, you know, we always like to say, and this is another golden nugget from Sam Tran, you know, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to save your life.
yeah.
But if you don't want to save your life, there's nothing I can do about it. But that's what I'm here for, is to save your life. And if you think that it's a scam or something like that, then that's your choice. That's your thoughts. That's your gig. But I'll tell you what, to all the kids out there, you don't stay in business for 45 years, do business in 179 countries, and do $500 million a year in sales and growing if you're a scam. That's just not how it works. And so, you know, the only entity that can get away with that kind of thing and make that kind of money and do that kind of stuff and live that long is government. They're the only ones that can be a scam and do that kind of thing, you know. But this thing is for real, and it is an incredible blessing, and we are so grateful to be able to do this. I know you're right there with me, and it's you know, you've got Kong on the brain just like I do. I got Kong on the brain. I can't shut up about it. I'm not going to shut up about it. And I'm sorry, you know, but I'm trying to shut up more, but I'm so passionate about it just because of all the incredible things that I've seen happen. And also a big part of that is understanding why. Because I was a snorer too. I couldn't sleep on my back with my kitty in between my legs. I had to always sleep on my side. My sweetie was always waking me up, roll over. And I'm exactly the same as Spencer. I'm now my snoring is like this little something. And I'm like, I don't even believe you're waking me up for that, you know.
I know. It's so crazy. But it's even little things like that improve your life, because now I'm not waking up every night because of his snoring, you know. So it might seem like a little thing, but I'm sure grateful for all the blessings that the water brings. And I know my family's probably sick of me talking about the water, but I can't stop, won't stop, because it is such a life changer. And, you know, I just pray that one day a lot of my friends and family who are more skeptical will just give it a try and be that open-minded state where they can, not be afraid to see how it's going to help them, and not, you know,
Amen. You know, and that's the thing is you don't quit this. You know, this isn't a job. This is your life.
Yeah.
And like another golden nugget from Sam Tran, that guy, if you're not friended up with Sam Tran,
I love Sam.
friended up with him.
He
Yes.
just messaged me, yeah.
He's constantly dropping golden nuggets on the family. And, you know, another one he said is, you know, this isn't, what do you think this is? You think this is my job? This isn't a job. This is my life. Am I going to quit my life? Are you going to quit your life? No, you don't quit your life. You quit your job. I'm not going to quit my life. And this isn't a job. This is our lives. This is other people's lives. This is life. And I was just as much of a skeptic as anybody out there. And my heart breaks for all these skeptics who won't look. But that's something that doesn't really concern me anymore, because I realize that I can't care more for people's health than they do. And so what I do is just keep on keeping on, because I know that I have the truth behind me. And that brings me to the last part of our little interview and discussion here today, hon. And that is the fact that one of the biggest aspects of this that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to unite people. I'm trying to bring people together. I'm trying to get people to resonate with each other, because I remember and I realized that the reason that I'm involved with this, it isn't because of all the technical stuff. It's because of an incredible story from an incredible angel that I will forever be grateful to. And so that story that she said, that she shared, it resonated with me and changed my life. And so we never know what story is going to resonate with who. We never know who's going to see this or that or the other, and all of a sudden, bing, the light bulb comes on and their brain cell decides it wants to learn something, and bam, their life is changed forever, right? So people are in here today, and I've been watching as on the Facebook Live, there's been a bunch of people saying thank you so much for your story, and wow, incredible, powerful. And so you never know who's going to see this kind of stuff, and they're going to go, wow, I've got to get a hold of this girl. I want to work with her. I want to be part of her team. And, you know, this is a huge thing for me, is that I believe in the law of attraction. I believe in the laws of positivity. And I believe in the laws of helping other people, and it comes back to you. And so for me, I don't really care where people get their con machines from. I just want them to get them. And if somebody wants to get one from you, even if it happens to be one of my family members that I've been working on for months and years, and they think I'm nuts, but they saw your story and they're like, yeah, Jay's nuts. I don't, you know, he's crazy. And it's true. I am crazy. And that's what keeps me from going insane, kids. But the thing is I don't care. And so every time that we get to the end of the show like this, I want the guests to give out whatever information they want, so that, because you can give out whatever you want. If you got websites, you got Instagram, you got Twitter, you got Facebook, you got this, that, or the other, you got your phone number. I don't, you know, whatever you want to give out, whatever you want to tell people about on how they can get a hold of you, what you're doing that can help them. Whatever. This is your point in time right now to share with everybody that's going to be seeing this as it goes out across the globe over the days, weeks, months, and years to come. How did they get a hold of that incredibly beautiful, amazing angel, Cori and Devard?
Oh, you're sweet, Jay. So yeah, I do a lot of social media. As you know, I have so Cori and Devard on Facebook. You can get a hold of me on there, and I also have a Kangen Water group if you search for Kangen Water with Corianne. Or you can call me or text me. I do a lot of texting. It's funny how much Kangen Water business we can do through Facebook Messenger and Instagram Messenger, because I have a lot of people that I regularly talk to, and I've never met them in person, but we are friends now, and we just, you know, talk about water and health and all sorts of stuff. And some of these people, I know it might be a while before they buy their machine, but I really believe you got to keep that conversation going and keep educating them, and it's going to happen. My phone number also is 626-320-4268, and you can call or text me if you're interested in talking about water.
Give me that one more time, 626?
320-4268. And I love, you know, I've been a third-party testimony for people, or talked to other people in Enagic who have somebody who has an autoimmune disease or anything like that. So I'm happy to help.
Yeah. Well, that's, to everybody out there, that's the beauty of the Kong family. That's why I call it the Kong family, because we literally are a family of people. And, and I've honestly only met a couple of people in this business in the going on 2.5 years now that I've been involved, where they're not willing to help people unless they're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Most everybody, you know, to the tune of 99% of the people that I've met, they're happy to give of their time and their effort and whatever, and they don't care about getting paid. They don't sell the water, they give it away. They drive to give it to people and things like that. It's just really amazing the depth of compassion and love that has come out of this company and the people that are involved with this company. And I think it's just because of, you know, when something happens that changes your life so drastically and makes your life so much better, that you strive to do the same thing for others. It's kind of like at the end of the book, World Without Cancer, you know, which is why for 26 years I've been sharing that story, and I'll go up and eat strangers' apple cores. When they're getting ready to throw them away, I'll walk up and go, "Hey, you gonna throw that away?" And they're like, "Are you crazy or what?" And I'm like, "No." They give it to me, and I go, I'm chomp that baby down, and they're like, "Ah, what you did," you know. But there's a reason why I do that, because at the very end of that book, he says something that has always hit me like a brick wall. He said, "You now have the ability to live in a world without cancer. And the only reason that you have this ability is because someone out there somewhere was gracious enough to bring this information to your attention. Mm-hmm. Can you do any less for others?" Mm-hmm. And that just smacked me upside the head like a 2x4. And I've always been running around. Everybody thinks I'm nuts, but whatever. My job is to share the story. Their job is to absorb it or not. And that's the same exact thing. Interestingly enough, Kangen Water and the World Without Cancer book have their roots in the exact same spot on this planet. And that is the land of Hunza. That's where it all started. That's where the book started. That's where Kangen Water started. And, you know, so that's always resonated tremendously with me. When I found that out, it really even gave me more want and more desire to share this with the world. And so that's what is so special to me, is that we just have this incredible family of people that are reaching out on a daily basis all over the place. And we have this really simple goal, right? Mm-hmm. We just want to change the world. How are we going to do it?
One glass of water at a time.
Amen. One glass of 9.5, one lightning bolt in a box, and one awesome conversation with an incredible person at a time. And so, Cori Ann, thank you so much for coming in here, taking of your precious time to come and share your incredible story. It's just fantastic. I've been excited to get you on here for quite some time. If you ever have any of your friends or anybody that has great stories, if you wouldn't mind encouraging them to come and share their stories, because like I said, our goal is to unite people, to get people to resonate with people, to get people to tell people how they can get a hold of them, how they can unite, how they can work together, how we can go about changing this world. And, you know, and you never know who's going to resonate with who. You never know whose story is going to wake who up, because your story might not wake somebody up, but one of your friends' stories might wake somebody up. Yeah. It's hard for me to imagine how anybody could not wake up after hearing your story, but it's hard for me to imagine a lot of things that happen every single day in this world. And all I can do is just continue to keep on keeping on, keep telling the truth, keep sharing the love, and we are going to accomplish our goal. And so, you know, thank you so much, honey. I'm really so happy that you came on today, and what a blessing. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and, you know, make sure to have yourself an awesome rest of the day.
I will, you too.
I know you will. I know you will, because that's what you do. You have a great day every single day.
Hey, John. Thank you.
And to everybody out there, as usual, don't forget your hugs. This is how you hug yourself, kids. See? You learn something new every day on the Con Family Show. All right, honey, you have yourself.
Bye, J. John.
Love you so much. Thanks
you
again.
Too. Bye.
Hey, we need to get Spencer on here sometime soon, too. I want to hear his story.
Okay, for sure.
All right, honey. Have a great
Bye.
one. Bye for now. HoooDeeHoooo.
Yeah.